Hello and welcome to Sports Junkies. I'm Eric Dolan.
And I'm Ryan Burns. On tonight's show, we'll break down the Giants' come-from-behind win over the Dolphins.
I'll sit with Rob Wetham and talk World Series, Tony La Russa's retirement, and the LeBron-sized decision looming for Albert Pujols.
We'll also be previewing the biggest game of the college football season so far, the LSU-Alabama showdown.
All that and more, plus your favorite segment, The Eliminator.
It's all on Sports Junkies, and it starts right now.
Welcome to Sports Junkies. I'm Eric Dolan, joined at the big desk by Ryan Burns. Rick Rosen is sick and on the DL this week. He will be back and better than ever next week, though. All right, Ryan, we had a huge week in sports.
Yeah, obviously the Giants almost losing to the winless Dolphins. Obviously, we're going to break that down a little bit. And the Cardinals coming back from down 2 runs in 2 consecutive innings against the Rangers in the World Series, coming back to win it all.
Oh, yeah, they found a way. But first, we've got Giants highlights. Hit it. We started off Steve Slayton with the 1-yard run. That puts the Dolphins up 7-0 in the first. But it wasn't Slayton's game. This was Reggie Bush's coming out party. Only his second 100-yard game of his career, breaking a few tackles there. He was just making people miss all game. And that set the Dolphins up for Matt Moore's 4th and goal, play-action run into the end zone. Dolphins take a surprising 14-3 lead. But then we skip on to the 4th quarter, and like they've done so many times all year, Eli Manning looks right over the middle. Victor Cruz, he breaks 2 tackles, finds his way into the end zone, and the Giants pull one out, 2017. But don't count them out yet. The Dolphins drop back. Osi Umenyiora, he says no. None of that. Sack. Matt Moore's got nothing. 2nd and 20. Moore tries the shotgun again. This time, Matthias Kiwanuka taken down. They couldn't get anything going. 4th and 23. Moore takes the snap, drops back. He finds Corey Webster. That guy's not on the Dolphins, and that just about sealed the deal. The Giants pull out a 20-17 victory against the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to hand it over now to Ryan Burns and Mark Spivak with a little analysis.
Okay, I'm here with Mark Spivak talking the Giants. Now, Mark, tough game for the Giants over the weekend. They almost lost to the winless Dolphins. This might hurt them going on later on in the schedule. Tell me about what happened in this game.
This game isn't going to hurt them in the schedule because they pulled out a victory.
Yeah.
Now, it was a close victory. They should have been more decisive with the win. The Dolphins don't have a win on the season, and the Giants' run defense did not perform. Their offense performed late in the game, but their defense was nowhere to be found in this game.
Yeah, the Giants' rush defense led up 145 yards against the Dolphins, over 100 of those yards to Reggie Bush, who's only had 2 100-yard rushing games in his career, both against the Giants. Now, obviously, a scat back like Reggie Bush, you don't expect him to get that many yards, especially on few carries. He only had about 5 carries in the game.
He had 15 carries on the game, actually. But the Dolphins signed Reggie Bush in order to be their running back, and they're built around them because you know what? Matt Moore can't really throw the ball. So they need the running game, and Reggie Bush was able to provide that whether it was against the Giants or not. Now, what the Giants did provide was a win. What Eli Manning was able to provide was 0 interceptions, which is huge for the Giants when Eli Manning doesn't throw interceptions. It's also huge when he finds Victor Cruz at the end of the game because those pull out victories for the Giants.
Yeah, Eli Manning had a great game, 31 for 45 and 2 touchdowns. He also spread the wealth a lot. 4 receivers over 50 yards. Obviously, Victor Cruz, Hakeem Nicks, and Mario Manningham being the main bulk of those yards. Now, he had a great game because he had to. Running back Ahmad Bradshaw got hurt later on in the game, didn't play as much, and then they didn't go to Brandon Jacobs at all. He only had 4 carries in the game.
The running game for the Giants was non-existent. A total of 50 yards for Bradshaw, 10 yards for Brandon Jacobs. The running game, they weren't calling the run. Eli Manning put up 349 yards. There's a reason for that. They weren't running the ball.
Yeah, and it's obvious that the Giants now use Bradshaw as their number 1 running back. Obviously, he's probably their biggest weapon right now because he's such a threat from the backfield. What do you think going into the next couple of weeks, if his ankle doesn't heal up, how big of an impact is that going to be if they don't fully trust Brandon Jacobs and if Brandon Jacobs doesn't trust his coach right now?
I think that the Giants are becoming a spread-it-out team. With the emergence of Victor Cruz, they have legitimate pass catchers with Hakeem Nicks, with Manningham, with Victor Cruz, with Bear Pasco. They have legitimate receiving options on this team, and they're going to spread the wealth.
Now, you mentioned Victor Cruz a little bit. He had 99 yards over the weekend, obviously a touchdown as well. What do you think, how much does it help the running game especially, but also Eli Manning to have this plethora of good wide receivers that really plagued him last year?
Victor Cruz is not a secret anymore.
No.
Teams are going to start calling his number to cover, double coverage against him. But with the Knicks next to him, who is arguably one of the best receivers in the league, manning him out of the slot, this team is dangerous. Now, the remaining schedule does not bode well for this quote-unquote dangerous team.
Not at all. We got the Giants playing at New England for their next game, at San Francisco after that, playing Philadelphia Eagles after that, at the New Orleans Saints, and then playing the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, they got through the soft part of their schedule. They're looking towards a lot of tougher teams to play. It pretty much helps that they are leading their division right now, and every other team is tied at 3-4.
Also, don't forget the Jets and the Cowboys twice. Now, I'm calling it. The best the Giants will do on the season is 8-8, but I foresee a 7-9 season for this team. There is no way they are winning more than 3 games in the remainder of the season with these matchups.
Obviously, the Giants are where they want to be right now at the top of the NFC East. Let's head it over now to Danielle.
The New York Yankees have locked up CC Sabathia for another 5 years. Sabathia decided to stay in the Big Apple rather than opt out of his contract and test the free agent market. The All-Star pitcher signed a new 5-year, $122 million deal on Monday. But CC is not the only member of the organization to receive a new deal. The Yankees announced Tuesday that general manager Brian Cashman has agreed on a new 3-year contract. Cashman has been the Yankees GM since 1998.
Thank you, Danielle. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're talking World Series, La Russa, and of course, what is going to happen with Albert Pujols, all that, plus Eliminator. We're going to throw in a little bit of college football talk. Don't go anywhere. Sports Junkies will be right back.
When you donate goods in response to an international disaster, it's expensive.
They have to cross the sea, pass through customs, be inspected, sorted, then finally delivered.
And often they arrive too late to help, making your good intentions feel a little empty.
There is a better way.
Cash donations are fast, simple, and allow professional relief workers to purchase supplies close at hand.
Cash is best. Learn more at CIDI.org.
Dinner makes a difference. Learn more at CasaFamilyDay.org.
Hit it.
Support the Red Cross and change a life, starting with your own.
Like all new parents, my husband and I want what's best for our baby. When it came to immunizations, I wanted the facts. So I carefully researched vaccines, talking to pediatricians and other experts and asking tough questions. The answer was obvious. Vaccines like those against measles and influenza are not only a good idea, they could save our daughter's life. Take the time to get the facts. Vaccines save lives.
Welcome back to Sports Junkies. I'm Ryan Burns. Longtime St. Louis Cardinals manager Tony La Russa announced his retirement on Monday. La Russa's announcement came just 3 days after the Cardinals captured their 11th World Series title. He spoke Monday about the reasoning behind his sudden announcement.
You take all those factors, there isn't one that dominates. They all just come together telling you just time is over. But as we went through the season and I felt that, this is, I think this just feels like it's time to end it.
La Russa won the World Series with Oakland back in 1989 and St. Louis in 2006 and 2011, joining Sparky Anderson as the only managers to win with clubs in both leagues. During his 33 seasons with the White Sox, Athletics, and Cardinals, La Russa has compiled 2,728 wins, which is third on the all-time wins list. Let's head now over to Eric and Rob.
Thank you, Ryan. My name is Eric Dolan, joined here by Rob Wetham. Rob, could there have been a more exciting end to the baseball season?
No, Eric, no, there couldn't be. I mean, let's face the facts. That was one of the most exciting World Series that we've seen in a very, very long time.
Oh, yeah, there is no doubt. I mean, it was packed with everything. You had the Cardinals down to their last strike 2 times. I mean, you thought the game was going to be over at 10. Next thing you know, it's 12:30 at night, and they found a way. They did that all year. 10.5 games out, they found a way. Phillies, Brewers, they found a way. And then finally in Game 6, they found a way.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals, they were a team of destiny. I mean, like you said, they were 10.5 games back behind the Braves to win the wild card. They come up, they beat the Phillies, who were the strongest team in the National League all season long. Then they take on the Brewers, who were the hottest team coming into the postseason. They beat them with pitching, bullpen. David Freese, NLCS MVP, turned out to be the World Series MVP. I mean, the kid was on fire. He was unstoppable. Albert Pujols had the big Game 3, 3 home runs. Didn't do much for the rest of the series.
He made himself a few $1 million after that.
Well, I mean, the way I see it is he hit 1 home run that game for every $100 million he's going to make this offseason, right?
I think the most amazing part about the Cardinals finding a way is that they got to the World Series by their bullpen. Their bullpen was amazing. It was shut out. The Rangers, too, but there were no bullpens. It was completely non-existent. It seemed like the second a reliever came in, he got knocked out. Ogando, I don't know what happened to his head, but he couldn't pitch. He couldn't throw a strike. He couldn't get a single batter out.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking on the show 2 weeks ago about the bullpens, how it was going to be a big matchup, and it just turned out to be an offensive series. I mean, the guys were on fire. Lance Berkman had a great series. Rafael Furcal had a great series. I mean, these guys were big pickups coming into the season, and it proved to work out for the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, the offense was huge, and the starting pitching. I mean, you can't overstate what Chris Carpenter has done. Tony La Russa, huge announcement 3 days after they won the World Series. Were you surprised by it?
I was kind of surprised by it, but you know what? In a way, I wasn't, because let's face it, it's been 33 years. The guy's been managing for a long time. Started back with the White Sox back in 1979.
Yeah. Hall of Fame, yes or no? What are his credentials?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, this man is a surefire Hall of Famer. I mean, he's third all-time in wins. He's second all-time in postseason wins behind only Joe Torre of the New York Yankees. 3-time World Series champ, won in both leagues. 3-time American League Manager of the Year, once in the National League in 2002 with the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah.
He's been in multiple World Series. He's won them. He's lost them. He's just been an integral part of baseball for a long time. And I feel like Tony La Russa is a surefire Hall of Famer. Now, not to mention a funny stat, he's actually going to go into the Hall of Fame in 2013 with 2 other prolific managers, Joe Torre and Bobby Cox of the Atlanta Braves.
Amazing. Now, the big question surrounding the sports, who's going to replace Tony La Russa?
Wow, big question.
Huge. I'm going to throw this out there. I think that the perfect match for the Tony La Russa opening, Terry Francona. He's a winner. He's won 2 with the Red Sox. He's used to the big city. He's used to the expectations. He's used to the crazy fan base that all they want is a win. I think Francona is the perfect fit for the job.
Terry Francona seems to be the logical choice. He's fresh off of a couple World Series wins. He's a very, very respected manager throughout baseball. Jose Oquendo, though, he's been there for a while. He's the third base coach.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a link between him and Albert Pujols, whether or not he was going to stay or go. Another guy who's been thrown around there is a guy by the name of Terry Pendleton. He used to play third base for the Cardinals as well as the Atlanta Braves. He was the National League MVP back in the early 90s. He's been the hitting coach here and there.
Yeah.
He's also another name that's been thrown out there as well. But I want to throw out one dark horse candidate that people have been mentioning, Joe Madden from the Tampa Bay Rays. He's a dark horse candidate.
Yeah,
he's been linked to the Cardinals job in the past.
Now, Pujols is the big question. David Eckstein, former second baseman for the Cardinals, came out and said if Oquendo becomes the manager, he thinks Pujols will stay. I mean, should the Cardinals be factoring in, should their general manager be wondering, should I pick this guy because of Pujols? Is that something that they should be doing right now?
I mean, would you? I mean, the guy's a beast. I mean, he's so far in his 11-year major league career, he's averaged 40 home runs a year. He's averaged 320. I mean, he is a machine, just like his nickname says.
Exactly.
It's probably worth tailoring your franchise around this guy. Whatever you have to do, you have to do.
Yeah, but is it worth hiring a manager just for this one player? I mean, Oquendo looks like he has the upside for Pujols. Looks like it'll bring Pujols back, but I think Francona gets you the wins and another World Series in the long run.
You know what? And I also feel like a guy like Terry Francona, he could get along with a guy like Albert Pujols.
Exactly.
You know, like a guy like Pujols will respect what he's done in the past, respect what he can do in the future. And, you know, I believe that they can make that work. But, you know, either way, you have to take Albert Pujols' wants and needs into consideration.
There's no doubt.
He's the most prolific hitter in the game, and you got to, you know, cope to what he wants.
Oh, yeah. Is he staying or is he going?
I think he's gone, man. You know what? In a bold prediction, I see him with the Cubs.
All right.
Theo Epstein is going to make some magic.
I think he's going to stick with another former Red Sox. He's staying. Francona's manager. There you go, Danielle.
Big news in Division III sports that could affect William Paterson. Pioneer's rival, Kean University, will self-impose sanctions on 3 athletic programs after an NCAA inquiry found alleged violations. The violations include scholarships awarded to 11 Kean athletes through the Dr. James E. Dorsey Scholarship Program. The program provided an amount of tuition aid that averaged higher than the aid provided to the general student body. The programs involve the men's and women's soccer teams, as well as the women's volleyball team. The self-imposed sanctions will also affect the men's and women's basketball teams and the women's softball team.
When we come back here on Sports Junkies, Mark Spivak and I will talk about the big college football showdown, 1 vs. 2, LSU versus Alabama. Plus, we'll have our eliminator picks, so don't go anywhere. Sports Junkies will be right back.
There are moments in your life when you think about what defines you. Mine was the moment when the doctor said autism.
What do you do next? There is no cure. There is no game plan.
Can you tell me what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I don't know.
As a parent, you're expected to have all the answers. But when your child has autism, there are very few answers to be had. That's why tens of thousands of parents across the country have come together online to give researchers the insight they need. It's called the EM Project.
Every child is different, and unless we, as parents, tell the researchers what is specific to our child, how will they know? They don't live with the children. They don't see them every day.
This is one thing that I can contribute. I can contribute to the answer.
Join the EN Project. We all have questions. Together, we'll find the answers.
You know, I use a lot of financial tools, but here's one that I recommend everybody try. Edie, the estimator at myfdicinsurance.gov. I want you to know without a doubt that your money in the bank is 100% FDIC insured. That way, you can't lose a penny no matter what. Come on, people, go see Edie and make sure your money is protected.
Visit Edie, the estimator, today, because the more you know,
the safer your money.
From the first day you join AmeriCorps, you start changing people's lives.
Through service to your community, you give a feeling of hope.
And they pass it on to the next person. And the next person.
And the next person.
And all the people they meet down the road. And that's a pretty cool thing.
Why did I join AmeriCorps? Because I want to change people's lives.
I knew I needed help paying for college. My parents divorced when I was 3, and there's no way they could pay for it all. Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher. I used to put together worksheets, and I made my friends do them when they came over. After a while, nobody wanted to come over anymore. My guidance counselor was the one who told me about federal student aid, and my mom was a big help in filling out the free application. It was a challenge, but so worth it when I got the grants and loans that made school possible. What would I tell other kids? I would tell them not to give up, to look for options to go to school. There is a way, you just have to find it. You might have to work and save, but it is what you make it. Life is what you make it. My name is Caitlin. I'm going to be a special education teacher. I'm going to live my dream.
Welcome back to Sports Junkies. I'm Eric Dolan. Now, this weekend, we are going to see the biggest matchup thus far and for the rest of the season in college football. Number 1 versus number 2, LSU, Alabama. Huge BCS implications. The rest of the year could go down the drain for one of these teams if they don't bring it. We've got Ryan Burns and Mark Spivak to break it down for us.
I'm back here with Mark Spivak. Now, Mark, obviously a huge game in college football. We have 1 versus 2, 2 huge SEC schools. What do you see happening in this game, LSU versus Alabama?
I see Alabama winning this game. I see Alabama on the fast track to the national championship.
Now, let's break it down, a little pre-matchup going on here. LSU has played 5 ranked teams this season, including their opener against number 3 at the time, Oregon. Alabama's played, I believe, 3 ranked teams during the season. Now, obviously, they're both in the SEC. They're both going to have really tough schedules. What makes you think that Alabama is such a better team?
I get breaking down their previous games, the previous matchups, who beat who by this much, who beat who by that much. I'm breaking them down head to head. I'm going numbers. And you know what? They're both scoring almost 40 points a game, but it's the Alabama defense that is coming to shine. Dante Hightower leading the rest of the defense for the Crimson Tide. They're allowing only 6.9 points per game to LSU's nearly 12. Now, that's not a high number.
That's still ranked in the nation. Now, obviously, these are both really good defenses, but again, going back to Alabama, obviously, they have a huge weapon in Trent Richardson.
Trent Richardson's going to win the Heisman Trophy. He's going to break 1,000 yards rushing on the season, and he already has 17 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He is leading this team. And you know what? As far as, we talk defense, but on offense, Alabama's leading every statistical category. Yards per game, passing, rushing. Alabama is going to take this game, I'd say, pretty handily, too.
Yeah, Richardson already has 1,000 yards from scrimmage. He also has another receiving touchdown as well. And A.J. McCarron, for the Crimson Tide, has been doing pretty good as well. 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, about 1,600 yards. So their offense has been moving as well. It's not just that, stingy defense that they always have.
What's big for me is the continuity on offense as well, because they only have one quarterback, whereas LSU has Jarrett Lee and Jordan Jefferson. They're going back and forth with their quarterbacks. They're also getting three guys, Spencer Ware, Tyrann Mathieu, and Tharold Simon, back from suspension for the Auburn game as well. They're going to have to. These guys are going to have to get acclimated for this huge test.
Now, let's not overlook the number 1 ranked LSU Tigers. I mean, they're number 1 for a reason. They've been doing a great job this year so far, obviously blowing out most of their opponents. Now, Jordan Jefferson, who was originally suspended earlier on in the year, giving the starting quarterback job to Jarrett Lee. They're both going to be playing in this game. Les Miles is going back to his 2-quarterback formation that he always likes to throw in, using 2 quarterbacks in the same game. Now, how does that affect the Alabama defense and the LSU offense?
I don't think it affects them that much because you know what? Alabama's defense is phenomenal. They come every game to play. Their defense is spectacular. And no matter how many quarterbacks he throws at them, 2, 3, 4, I don't care. Alabama's going to win with their continuity because they have 1 quarterback, they have 1 running back, and they have a rock-solid defense.
Yeah, I'd like to see what Jarrett Lee does against this defense because obviously he's in for more of the passing plays, Jordan Jefferson in for some of the running plays as well. But Jarrett Lee, 13 touchdowns, only 1 interception. So obviously this LSU offense is also firing on all cylinders. As you said before, over 40 points, almost 40 points a game. But again, against this Alabama defense, which is a little bit more experienced as well, it's going to be pretty tough. So I'm not sure if Les Miles is going to be eating any grass this weekend.
I'd say Alabama's winning this game by at least 2 touchdowns. I'm calling this right now because A.J. McCarron has almost 1,700 yards passing, and it's Trent Richardson. That's all I have to say is Trent Richardson.
I still think that LSU is going to put up a great shot against this Alabama team. They're still number 1 ranked. I feel like Jarrett Lee is firing on all cylinders as well as this offense. So it's going to be interesting to see this game over the weekend. But for now, we're going to head it over now to Danielle.
West Virginia has filed a civil lawsuit against the Big East on Monday in an attempt to exit the conference in 2012 to join the Big 12. The university claims it should not be held to the 27-month waiting period required of all departing teams. The Mountaineers felt that nothing was done to protect the other 6 football schools once Pittsburgh, Syracuse, and TCU left. The school is blaming Commissioner John Marinetto for the instability of the conference. With recent losses to the conference, West Virginia felt it had no choice but to accept the invitation to the Big 12.
Thank you, Danielle. We're going to take one last little break, but do not go anywhere. When you come back, not only do we have the Eliminator, we're going to let you know when our new live shows are coming so you can watch us live. So stay tuned. Eliminator is on the way.
Who am I? I'm someone who cares about smiles. And I live and work in your community. I'm the one who puts a smile on your child's face. I'm an orthodontist, a dental specialist who corrects crooked teeth, misaligned jaws, and dental irregularities. I received an additional 2 to 3 years of specialized education beyond dental school. Who am I? I'm the maker of healthy, beautiful smiles. For more information, visit braces.org.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Welcome back to Sports Junkies. I'm Eric Dolan. Ryan, we have another huge week of NFL football to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jets come back into action this week, and the Giants play the New England Patriots in what's going to be a really big game for them.
Oh, yeah, they're traveling to Foxborough. That's going to be tough. The staff's got their picks. Let's send the ball around. It's time for the Eliminator.
The 49ers travel into Washington to beat the Redskins. Will the real Alex Smith please stand up?
Oh. Kansas City plays winless Miami. Kansas City all day. They're hot.
I pick Atlanta over Indiana. The Colts are itching for a win, and the Falcons are just going to shut them down.
I've got the Bengals over the Titans. Andy Dalton on a 4-game winning streak with the Bengals, possibly Rookie of the Year over Cam Newton.
Ooh, I've got the biggest game of the week. Steelers beat the Ravens. Roethlisberger is too good. Ravens haven't been themselves.
Nice gun.
All right, thank you. There are a bunch of ways where you can contact us here at Sports Junkies. Let us know what you're thinking. You can find us on Facebook. It's SportsJunkies-WPTV6.
You can also send us an email at sportsjunkies6@gmail.com.
We have some live shows coming up, people, on Channel 6 and on our Ustream channel. Tuesday, November 15th at 8 p.m., Tuesday, November 22nd at 7:30 p.m., and a live hour-long telethon episode Thursday, December 1st at 7 p.m.
All episodes can be seen on ustream.tv/channel/WPTV-6.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
Well, that's all for us. Thank you for tuning in. For Ryan Burns, I'm Eric Dolan. Have a nice week.
Hit me.